I'm going to use whatever I have in my power and the knowledge I know of the science of addiction, which is really, really thin lately.
Right.
Or as of late, it's we're doing a lot more studies now that addiction's got huge spotlight, especially with the government.
Right.
And our main act is the Comprehensive Addiction and Rehabilitation Act,
well, it's just
which
smart.
Obama just passed.
Yeah. Hold that thought right now. I think we found our famous Bob. I think Bob from Long Beach is back. Hey, Bob, are you there? Bob? I think Bob just hung up again.
Bob?
Oh,
Hello?
oh,
There
hey,
he
Bob,
is.
you're live on the air, 101.5 KOCI. What's up, bud? What's your question?
All right, so my question is, how is a properly set up collective able to do business with a grow-op? Like, what legal documents do you have to have, if any?
Well, under the Attorney General guidelines, page 8 tells you must form the number one thing, cooperative corporation. You form a cooperative corporation. You sign patient members. If you want to have 600 plants, sign 100 patient members. You can grow 6 adults per patient member, and then you have to keep good and accurate books through a good CPA. Make sure you have a payroll paying patient member employees, and you keep these records, and you operate in strict accordance with the Attorney General guidelines. Don't wholesale, don't vend, and keep those records clean, and that's going to give you the best defense possible if you get arrested and get you ready for the licensing that's coming down.
And Bob, just to add to that, this is Blue. I want to say, it's kind of crucial because you're hearing a lot, and I hear this from other parties, and until I ran across the Pot Brothers at Law myself, I was a little uneducated that everybody goes after a not-for-profit doing business as a mutual benefit organization, and I think there's some truth to that, but I think that if you read again the law, it specifically says a cooperative, and so
which is a not-for-profit business, which is distinguishable from a non-profit business. Two completely different entities and organizations and set up for different reasons.
Sure.
The cooperative corporation that the Attorney General says to be is based in agriculture. It's to move product. It's to move apples and oranges, and the entity itself doesn't make a profit. People can get paid a salary, a reasonable salary, reasonable expenses. You can't make a profit. Doesn't mean if you set one up, you can't make a living running the organization as a patient member, but it's for the benefit of all the members, and that's a statutory cooperative corporation, which is what you really need to be, and that shields you from all liability as well for taxes and such for the corporate entity.
There it is, Bob. We appreciate your call, man. We look forward to you following us and stay online. We'll be right back after these breaks.
High roller and a low ball jack. Stuck outside.
Cannabis Talk 101. We're back here with the Recovery Show at Dr. Joe here.
Dr. Joe.
And the Pot Brothers.
Is it the
of Law.
Recovery Show now?
Yeah.
All right, I'll take over. You guys can leave.
Good night. I think we're out.
I haven't had a drink since February 7th, 2014. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah,
we
well,
got a caller, right?
So, right now we don't actually. We're going to pop back into just talking about we are taking live callers, so 101.5 KOC. I could hit us at 949-650-1015 if you want to call us up and talk about anything in the cannabis world or even recovery, because we do have Joe with us.
I have another question for the doctor. Have you ever had anybody come in just with no other quote-unquote drug in their system other than cannabis and have a problem?
Good question. I've been practicing addiction medicine since 2006, so 10 years, 11 years really. And I've had 2 patients who have been primarily marijuana. But the number one, the most common diagnosis that is accompanying a patient that comes in to see me for treatment is marijuana, cannabis use disorder. That's what we call it. So it's inclusive of. So they're using it in addition to whatever else they're come seeing me.
Sure.
But cannabis has got THC's got a real bad withdrawal syndrome. I mean, it could be even as bad as kicking heroin.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
How long is that supposedly? How long do you have to not have it in order to suffer those symptoms, or is it a person by person basis.
Well, here's the deal. Here's how it works. When you're smoking enough THC, when you have enough cannabinoids going into your system, you're shutting off your own brain's ability to make its own, or slowing it down, depending on how much you're using. So when you stop, your brain takes a few days, upwards of even 2 weeks, depending on how much you're smoking, to get back into speed. Now, what that does is when you don't have your own internal cannabinoids, think about that. Your brain makes the most potent cannabinoid called anandamide. And anandamide is, I don't know, 1,000, 1,000,000 times stronger than THC. Tetrahydrocannabinoid.
You know,
Interesting.
The psychoactive ingredient, I guess you would, in the plant is THC, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so I think that, you know, I could just share stories from again, people that we've been educated by, and not necessarily every story is correct, you know, but we hear a lot of stories about people saying, you know, I give my child CBDs now. You know, and it's stopping them from having seizures. You know, and in particular, there's a lady that I know. Her name's Joy, and she has a foundation, and she
Canna Moms.
Is that Charlotte's Web? Is that she?
Well, there is a Charlotte's Web strand. But now, I mean, it's way beyond Charlotte's Web now. I mean, you know, there's CBD living waters. I mean, there's different products everywhere that are coming out, and so all these products are coming out, and this lady, she basically, her son, I believe her son was having 30 seizures a day.
Yeah. And
she documented it, and she was given everything that the doctors were prescribing every single day, and he was just having 30 back to back. It was like clockwork. And then so she was scared he was going to die. I mean, you know, your body can only take so much of that. Right. And then someone came at her and said, I think it was, and I don't quote me on this, but it might have been like, just a huge company comes and says, hey, we'd like to give you guys your son marijuana, and she was like, they're going to take me to jail, you know.
Sure.
I can't, you know, I can't lose my son, and then what, you know.
Yeah.
And at this time,
stigma attached to it,
the whole nine.
Yeah.
And then at the time they hadn't separated the CBDs and the THC into it, so they were just kind of getting the kid medicated, and she said, look, let's document it all, and I'll try it. So they tried it. I believe they did it with THC and CBDs first. And then the company started evolving into just trying to separate them and saying, is it just the THC or is it the CBD that's helping your child? And they found out that it was the CBD. And now the child has about 3 seizures a day, and lives almost a normal lifestyle. I mean, you know, it's dear to my heart when I hear that story.
And we get people asking us all the time, how can the politicians look these people in the face and really say there's no accepted medical value? Rhetorical question.
The DEA.
Agree.
The DEA keeps saying that.
When you have all these studies,
no medical value,
and proof, and refugees, we have.
It's still a Schedule 1,
right?
And it's showing. You know,
that's what Schedule 1 is.
The will of the people will take over at some point. I would assume.
Would hope.
So
what about what do you think?
With so many states recognizing the medicinal value, otherwise they wouldn't. You know, they have all these reasons in every state why they legalize it for medical marijuana.
We want to hear from
cannabis.
people at home. We want to hear what people think.
I'm willing to take calls. I mean, answer any medical questions you might have about cannabis. You know, but I do have to have a disclaimer. The people that come see me, you know, they're usually at the end of their rope, and they're usually abusing other drugs. So, you know, I have to put a caveat on what I'm saying is that I don't recommend this for anybody who's had issues, and if you're coming to see me, and especially if you're listening, I'm not any way condoning this. So don't misinterpret what I'm saying, but I do agree with you guys about the medical.
Sure. Well, absolutely. I think there is medical benefits, and I mean, you just have to be kind of turning a cheek and not looking a blind eye, I guess you would say, and just say, hey, you know what, marijuana doesn't do nothing for you. I can't believe that. My father, died of cancer, and he was medicating, and he said he'd rather take medication than marijuana than medication from the Vicodin, the Oxycontins that they're giving him.
Well, one of our best friends was in a horrible car crash and given 1% chance to live, was in a coma and all this and that. And when he came out of it, he was at Cedar-Sinai, and they were giving him Marinol so he would start eating again.
Right.
And what's Marinol? Synthetic
THC, and there's a huge
Synthetic.
I actually trained at Cedars-Sinai, and there's a huge coalition for getting Marinol on the formulary for people. I mean, that's back when we had one medication to treat HIV, two, I think, came on the scene. So we needed something to help, calm the side effects. End stage, HIV, end stage AIDS with GI complications, gastrointestinal complications. It was ugly. We were looking to.
So the science is there.
Well, you know what? I don't
understand how they say it's not there.
Well,
Can you
there's
explain that.
No,
As a
I mean
doctor.
I work. I work. Well,
not as the government official.
In particular, the studies I've seen, and I work with the Epilepsy Foundation, and they actually host an annual function down in the Gray Matter Museum, which is attached to this building. So it's so funny that we're even talking about this. That there is. I mean, there's neuropsychologists and neurobiologists from UCLA that are representing breakthrough. Research that's going on in this. But again, you have to weigh the addictive potential of it. No, I know I'm talking to the wrong guys here.
No, you are. No, you're not. You're really not, because I mean we're open-minded.
That's what we want. We want the listeners and the people out there to realize that there is a potential abuse.
Sure.
There is a
Wherever
potential.
there's a receptor, there's a way to modulate that receptor. So, like I said in the beginning, CB1 and CB2 cannabinoid receptors are on every tissue in the body.
Sure.
And not
Not just nerve tissue, not just brain and spinal cord.
People abuse food too.
So, doctor, we have a website. It's CannabisTalk101.com, right? And we think it's the most important thing to educate people, not just to push. We're not trying to push marijuana. We don't sell marijuana.
Cannabis.
We don't sell cannabis. We don't push CBDs. We're more of the guys that just want to educate the market, right? So for us, I think it's super important to remember, like we why do your eyes get red? And if you don't know, you can go to our website and watch a whole video on it. And
I actually don't know.
Yeah, right. And so we do videos that explain why your eyes get red. Why does your mouth get dry when you're smoking?
Well, that I do know. But why do your eyes get red?
Well, you'd have to talk to the guy
Look at
that
the
wrote
video.
it. And watch the video.
Didn't memorize it.
Yeah, we're just part of the company. But 101.5 KOCI LPFM Newport Beach, Costa Mesa. And if you want to call us up, you can call us 949-650-1015. And in the meantime, I want to give a big shout out to 420iscoming.com and the 420 Survivor Kit. So we're back.
We like that Survivor Kit.
We love that kit.
What's in a 420 Survivor kit?
It's actually funny. It's a locked case. And that case has a bunch of different utensils that you might use to medicate. But what it is it's for safety. So if you're driving down the street, law says, I believe the gentleman next to me could tell you, that you should actually lock a box, have it out of reach, I believe, right?
Almost kind of like a gun.
Yeah, it's almost like a gun. You shouldn't
trunk.
be able. So if you have it locked, essentially, and out of reach, then it's a little more legal to drive with, I guess you could say.
It's like booze.
it's not-
I mean, you can't.
You're
have
right.
open
It's not.
container.
It's not as bad as if you get pulled over and they smell something and they search your car. You don't have an open baggie of cannabis or anything to spur the officer to do more than what he pulled you over for.
Sure.
And if you have it in the trunk, they got to get in the trunk, then they got to get into the locked box that's in the trunk. That's two different warrants that they would potentially need if they go in there, as they often do, without a warrant, making up probable cause and saying all sorts of things.
Which essentially it's just being I guess it's being smart and educated, saying that, listen, if you're going to transport your medication, do it responsibly. Don't just drive down the street and do something
Always
silly.
have it locked up in the
it's
trunk.
not like the 70s where you could drive around with a roach in the ashtray.
Right? No.
You got to be safe.
No, it's actually
get a move along ticket.
Yes.
Here we go. Here's one of them right now. So
very
while
nice.
you're checking that out, Doc, we're going to go ahead and bring on Eugene from
Great.
Pomona, and he's a live caller. What's up, Eugene? You there? Eugene, are you there?
Come on down, Eugene.
Eugene, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, how you doing, Eugene from Pomona? You are live on air. What's going on, bud?
What's up?
Good. Hey, guys, I've been watching your show for a while. First time calling in. My real question is, well, I have a couple questions, but first I'm wondering what happens information that I give to the medical cannabis California people.
Who are you? Who are you talking about? The medical cannabis people.
Well, when I sign up for my card, I'm wondering what happens to that information.
It's when you go to a doctor and he gives you a recommendation. You mean?